Hi, it's Mark Rushton. It's Sunday, July 5th, 2020. I've done a garden update in a long time, so I thought I'd do one. Kind of cleaned up the fairy garden here a little bit. Got this ground cover around it that just goes bonkers this time of year. It's great. You can put it in anywhere, and it will survive in any location. I'll show you some examples here soon. So that looks pretty good. And some recent outdoor art here for the entryway. That looks kind of good, I think. So I'm looking around for wasps. I got all the wasp nests down earlier in the season. So you get that ground cover. And let's see. Let's get out of the light here. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I've been working on, is getting these hostas out of here because there are deer in the area and they just eat them, and what's the point, right? So I've dug some of these out already, and I'm transplanting them to an area not far away, but it's where, who cares, right? If they get eaten, that's fine. I'll show you it here in a little bit. And what I'm just going to do in the short term is just transplant more of this ground cover in here. We'll just have a nice sort of a pea green ground cover in front of these yews here. So, yeah, if hostas don't work out, or if a certain plant doesn't work out, you can't fight Mother Nature. So, up here in the centerpiece, starting to get coneflowers. Those that haven't been eaten off yet, chewed away. You can see the rose here is just chewed up. Leave it. You never know, right? There's that ground cover in here. So we got some up, more on the way. And then these little fellas here, I think this was part of a mix I put in a few years ago. And then there's some questionable things back here, but that's not much. And this oregano has gone absolutely bonkers, and kind of love it. Because, herbs are nice. And maybe I should take some of those out of there. I mean, you've got this sort of ground ivy here, ground cover of some kind, and it does seem to be kind of taking over. So I might dig some of that out of here. It is starting to go to seed. Any time would be a good time. On the back side here. I forget the name of that. I think that's Nicotania, if I'm not mistaken. It will bloom. It blooms early, and then it kind of blooms later in the year. And then again, here more of the ground cover I planted. This was a very, very difficult space. I couldn't get anything to grow there, and there would be weird stink mushrooms. That's the only thing that would grow there. So, see, when this was landscaped originally back in the mid '80s, it was hold on here, I got somebody driving by. It, plastic border and lots of rock, and it just over the years. So anyway, I got this in here last year. I started putting little bits, really not that much, just to kind of test it out. And look, it's just completely filled in all the way around the corner too. And you get this sage here that's gone bonkers, as sage does this time of year. It looks great up until about a week or two ago, and then it goes crazy. And we've got daylilies over here, some of which are being eaten. some of which haven't. All the ones up here by the drive are eaten. Oh well, that's all right. I mean, the foliage looks good. So I get this spot here in between these pine trees, and when we moved in, these were all hung down to the ground, and it was kind of a mess. So I cut them up, and I wasn't sure ever what to do in this space in here, because I'd wood chip for a long time. And so I'm going to transplant the hostas up here. Slowly doing it. I'm probably about a quarter of the way through, and then interspersing with that ground cover there. So if the deer eat it, who cares? And that ground cover will take over, and we'll have a nice bed of kind of a pea green color there in this space. So the very few people who walk by it will, oh, look at that. It's not a big junky, limby, weedy mess anymore. So that's what we're shooting for anyway. So other than that, a lot of clover in the yard this year. I don't want to have to use anything, but I might have to use something. It is really quite a clover year. I do overseed, but you don't want to be seeding in July, which is what it is now. I'll overseed in the fall. But I gotta figure out some clover methods there. As far as everything else, well, the driveway endlessly having to weed that with the propane torch, and the propane torch giving me problems. But I do love a rock driveway. I've really grown to appreciate this. It's nice. Fairly low maintenance. And then down here, daylilies starting, but I think the deer have been sleeping in there, so that's a bit of a problem. I don't think we're going to get as many as what we thought. So, anyway, rhubarb. We got some rhubarb out of the little rhubarb garden this year. But that's essentially no man's land down there. Once you get into June, you just don't even want to go down there. And that's fine. A lot of lightning bugs, and what else we got down there? Raccoons and groundhogs. So anyway, that's the yard for July 5th, 2020.